Principle of operation. I think it's good that you have a working understanding of how the door operates, so in the event that you do have a problem, or if you have a problem, you'll be able to diagnose it yourself and correct it. As you can see, I've removed the access cover from the door so you can take a look at all the components that make it up. Basically, the general principle of operation is the motor at the bottom, when it turns one direction, it winds the string up on the shaft, picking up the door. When the motor turns the other direction, it lowers the shaft, lowers itself back down. There are two green switches located on the side of the unit. Those switches tell the door when to stop. Generally, that's where we generally have our most problems, or if you have a problem, that's where it may occur. So we're going to go through basically the motions that the door goes through, and so you can see how these switches do operate. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flick the manual raise button that's located on the side of the unit, and that'll basically cause the door to automatically lift up. If you take a look and notice, you'll see that this, which is called the lower limit switch, has a little roller attached to a lever. That roller sits on has fallen off the top of the door. That's what tells the unit to shut off when the door drops. Now when I get the door to rise, you'll see that that little roller begins to ride on the door. And you'll hear a little click too. You need to make sure you'll see that that roller is riding on the door, and you'll hear that little click as it climbs up onto the door itself. The door rises, you can see, rises very slowly, and if you wanted to, you could flick this manual raise switch down to the automatic position and the door will drop. Of course, we do have the light sensor disconnected. And as you watch, when it drops, you'll see that that little roller, when it gets to the bottom, you hear the click and it falls off the top of the door, stopping the door. That's very critical for the operation of the door, that you see that happen. If you have debris at the bottom of the door, that could stop that from happening. So we'll turn it on again to let it to manually raise. Again, I saw the roller climbed up on the door. I heard the little click. Now the door is beginning to rise. Again, it takes a little time to rise, but let me go through some other points while it's climbing up. If, say, the door were to begin to drop and there was some debris in the bottom of the door stopping it from going all the way down, the motor does not shut off. It continues to wind. It'll unwind the string and then it'll begin to wind it up again, and it'll start picking it up. Now, that's referred to as the door going out of sync, because generally it was going down with this switch telling it to shut off. Now, turning in that direction, it's going up. And whenever that occurs, you'll find out that the door, instead of stopping at the top switch, as it's coming close to doing, will go up and it'll hit the plunger switch located on the circuit board. And what that does is shuts all power to the door, and it activates the indicator light to tell you that you have some debris or something that's preventing the door from dropping properly. So we're almost at the top, and we get up to the top, and you can see it stopped. What happens is the top of the door pushes in the lever on the upper green limit switch. Okay, here what I'll show you too is I'll just manually lift the door myself a little bit to activate that plunger switch, and you see it turns the little light on. Alright, now we're going to put it back in the down position. Again, now the motor begins turning the other direction. It's unwinding the string off the motor shaft, and the door begins to drop. So that's pretty much it, the basic operation. When the motor turns one direction, it winds the string up on the shaft, picking the door up. When it turns the end with the upper limit switch, stopping the door. When it turns the other direction, it unwinds the string, causing the door to drop, with the lower limit switch and its roller falling off the top of the door to make it stop. In both of these situations, you can tell if the switch is activated because you'll hear a little click. That's pretty much it. There's not much more to the operation of the door. It'll be your job to make sure no debris collects underneath it, and that track stays clear so the door moves up and down on its own. If you want, you can add a couple little weights to the door if you like to give it a little bit more weight, but I generally don't think that's a necessary thing. You see, we're almost at the bottom and the door is about to stop. There's the click, and it fell off the door.